So allow yourself to roll your mat out in a comfortable space. We love using props, so if you have blocks or straps, feel free to grab those. Alternately, you can use rolled up blankets or towels, pillows, bolsters, books, anything to help bring that floor closer up to you through the use of props you might have. And we'll just start by allowing ourselves to get grounded here. So find a really comfortable seated position. Sitting on your mat, just allow your spine to begin to lengthen. Allow your shoulders to fall away from your neck. Slowly starting to release any tension in your neck and shoulders, rolling them up, down, and back. And finding a wonderful rooting sensation through the base of your spine, connecting you to the ground beneath you. Feeling rooted and supported. And allow the top of your head to reach towards the sky, finding length in the neck. And just begin by resting your palms gently on your knees and analyzing the quality of your breath as it is in this moment. Noticing if it's shallow or deep. Just beginning to slow your mind, tuning into your body. And on your next breath, place one hand on your heart center and one hand on your belly. Beginning to deepen the breath and slowly breathe in through the nose. Draw that breath down into the belly, feeling that belly expand, creating space, filling with oxygen, infusing every cell, muscle, organ, and bone with that cleansing deep breath. Hold it in the body, and gently soften that belly as you exhale back through the nose, feeling your center come back in towards yourself. Gently releasing anything that needs to be let go. And repeating, inhale, draw that breath in slowly through the nose. Feel that belly expand. And exhale, release, soften. Just beginning to tune in with yourself. Allow yourself to feel present here in this moment. And continuing at your own pace for just a couple more breaths here. Noticing how your breath can help calm your nervous system, allowing you to feel more grounded, more present, more aware of this conscious breathing. And taking one more deep belly breath in through the nose, fill the body with air, feel it expand. And exhale now through the mouth and let it all go. Allow yourself to feel the lightness of that breathing. Bringing your knees up in towards your chest and holding on to them for support now. Gently lower yourself down, one vertebrae at a time, all the way onto your mat. Draw those knees in towards the chest, just giving yourself a nice little release here. Noticing the way that the spine feels along the mat. Hopefully feeling supported. And holding on to your right knee, allow that left leg to straighten, keeping your foot flexed, and just gently clasping your hands around that right kneecap and pull it in. As you exhale, making space for that knee to come in just a little bit closer. And breathing through this. Feeling your hamstring gently releasing with time. And then beginning to make a couple of circles, so guiding that knee with just your right hand this time, allowing yourself to make some hip circles. You can place your left hand on that opposite hip to keep it from popping up. And just breathing through these hip circles and checking in with yourself, noticing if it feels tight or loose, just observing, not analyzing, and reverse direction of those hip circles now. And then allow yourself to guide that knee gently out to the side. Externally rotating the hip, allow that right knee to fall out to the side, applying gentle pressure with your hand. An option here is if you have a block, you can place that block under the knee for additional support as you just allow that inner thigh muscle to release. Continue to maintain that left hip staying down on the mat. And over time, with a few breaths, you begin to feel that right hip just gently releasing. And slowly beginning to inhale that knee back towards center. Give it one more little hug in towards the body. And guide it over to the midline of the body, crossing over and dropping it towards the left side now, coming into a little twist. So feeling your lower back twisting, guiding that that right knee down towards the ground. Maybe extending that right arm out in opposition if that feels nice for you. Feeling into this gentle twist, releasing the glutes, and continue breathing. See if you can relax both shoulders down on the mat, trying not to hold any tension there. One more breath here. And slowly begin to inhale that knee back to center now, giving it one more nice little hug in towards the body. And gently exhale and release that leg all the way down. On your next breath, begin to draw that left knee in towards the belly, hugging it in nice and close to the body. And just breathing here for a few breaths with your left knee hugged in close. Now using your left hand to guide that knee, begin to just open up into a couple little hip circles here, starting to warm up that hip. Allowing it to loosen, soften, and relax. Moving your circles in one direction. And then reversing those circles. Trying to keep that right foot flexed with your toes pointing back towards you to keep the right leg muscles engaged. Again, you can keep that right hand down on that right hip to prevent it from popping up. And then hugging that knee back in towards your chest for just a breath. And then slowly begin to allow it to open out to the side, externally rotating that hip. Keeping your right hand on your right hip to keep both hips square and down on the mat. Allow that left knee to just gently begin to fall away from the body. Using your breath to send it to any areas of tension in that left hip and left thigh. And spending a few breaths here. And slowly begin to draw that knee back in towards your center. Give it a nice little hug. And then with your right hand, begin to guide that knee over the midline of the body. Coming into a little twist. Allow that right knee to fall down towards the ground or a block. You may extend your left hand out in opposition or keep that left hand kind of guiding your glutes into this gentle twist. Feeling that twisting of the lower back, maybe feeling an adjustment there as you slowly surrender. into this twist. Continue breathing, sending the breath where it needs to go. One more breath here. And gently beginning to inhale that knee back to center. One more nice little hug in towards the body. And exhale, release it down. From here, you're going to begin to draw both knees in towards the chest. And you have the option here to either rock yourself up to a seated position, or you can roll over onto one side and push yourself gently back into a seated position. Sitting comfortably now, cross-legged. When you're ready, begin to roll those shoulders up, back, and down, feeling a gentle release of the shoulders and neck muscles. Really tuning in to the connection here between these muscles. And reversing direction of the shoulder shrugs. Continuing that breath. And then placing your left hand down on the mat next to you, you're going to begin to inhale and extend that right arm up towards the sky, really reaching through those fingertips. As you exhale, you're going to begin to slowly lower yourself into this side bend here. Now in this side bend, you want to make sure both your sit bones are firmly on the ground. Tuck your chin into your armpit, gaze upwards, and just begin to breathe here as you feel that right body opening up, creating space in between each rib, releasing those side body muscles that often don't get much love throughout our normal day. Spending 2 cleansing breaths here. And slowly beginning to inhale yourself back up to center and pausing here to notice the 2 sides. One may be feeling a lot more lengthened than the other. And preparing for the opposite side now, drop that right hand down next to you. Inhale, extend that left arm up towards the sky. Reach up through those fingertips, finding length. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, open up that side body. Tucking your chin into your armpit, gazing up, making sure both sit bones are firmly on the mat. And also making sure you're not caving in on yourself. You really want to find an open heart, an open chest. Deep breath in as you feel the space between the ribs expanding. Exhale, let it go, feeling a little bit deeper into this stretch. And then gently inhaling yourself back up to center now. Finding a nice little twist, so you're going to slowly begin to rotate the body. Bringing your right hand over to your left knee, pausing here to just make sure that your chest, your shoulders are open. Again, we don't want to collapse in or hunch our back. You want to find length through that spine, open the shoulders, and slowly begin twisting. Gazing behind your shoulder. Feeling a nice twisting of the spine here, finding length. Sending the breath down into the root, the base of the spine. Deep breath in. And exhale, releasing, coming through center and over to the opposite side now, holding onto that knee for support, finding length. Nice deep breath in, and exhale as you twist a little bit further. Gazing behind yourself here, sending that breath all the way down through the spine. Nice deep cleansing breath. And exhale, returning back to center. You're gently going to begin dropping that head over towards the right side. So feel that ear falling towards the shoulder as you find length in the spine. Really beginning to open up those neck muscles, and then bringing your hand to just gently guide that head down a little bit more. And then you have the option to drop your left arm next to you or keep it on your shoulder for a little support here. Breathing into this space where a lot of us feel tension, especially after working at our computers all day. So just sending a couple of breaths here to begin opening and releasing those muscles. And then taking the palm of your hand, placing it on the back of your head, and just drawing it down into the side. Feeling a nice stretch along that back side neck. Deep breath in. Exhale, gently release and coming back to center now. And coming to the opposite side, begin dropping that ear towards the shoulder, feeling a lengthening in that right side. You can bring that hand to guide the head down just a little bit more. Feel that ear falling towards the shoulder. Try to relax into this position. Feeling wonderful stretch here in these shoulder muscles. Deep inhale. As you exhale, placing the hand on the back of the head and just gently pulling it down into the side, finding a stretch along that side neck. And inhale, coming back to center. I just felt an adjustment in my own neck there. And we're going to make our way into table. So coming now onto all fours. In table, you want to make sure that your wrists are directly below your shoulders. Your knees are below your hips. You want to find a flat back, straight spine, align that neck to the spine. You're going to engage your core slightly. And find that rooting sensation down through your hands. Maybe spreading your fingers a little wide here. And preparing for our cat-cow sequence. You're going to inhale as you drop the belly, extend the spine, gazing forward. As you exhale, push up through those hands, rounding the shoulders, drawing that belly button in towards your center. Rounding that spine, tuck your chin, really pushing up here. And inhale, drop the belly, gazing forward, coming into your cow. Exhale, round the spine, draw that belly in, pushing up. This is a wonderful way to exercise and start warming up the spine. We learned in Marianne Wells yoga teacher training, every posture originates from the spine. So we always want to make sure we move it in all 6 ways in the beginning of class. One more of each, one more cow, one more cat. Moving at your own pace, feeling that breath-body connection. And then coming back to that neutral spine now, preparing for a couple balanced table extensions. So really find rooting here. Shift your weight over into your left hand and start to inhale. Extend that right arm long in front of you and extend that left leg back behind you, creating length in one line with the body. As you inhale, extend both limbs outwards in either direction. And exhale, returning back to center. Preparing for the opposite side. Inhale, extending the left arm out in front, right leg behind. Exhale, return to center. Moving at your own pace here. Inhale, extend. Exhale, return. Inhale, finding that length. Exhale, return to center. Once more on either side. Deep breath in, really reach through those fingers and toes. Exhale, come back. Inhale, extend. And exhale, return. From here, just giving ourselves a little bit of mobility in our hips. So just beginning to do a couple of little rolls with those hips. Finding some nice movement, any way the body needs to move here to start to loosen it up, warm it up. And reversing direction now. And returning back to that tabletop position, inch your knees just a couple inches back on the mat. You're going to keep your hips high, and slowly as you exhale, you're going to start walking those hands out nice and long in front of you, and finding a little bit of a heart-melting position here in puppy pose. You're going to begin to lower that chest down onto the mat. From here, you have the option to either rest your chin down and gaze ahead for a little bit more intensive a stretch, or you can place that forehead down on the mat. Finding surrender in this heart-melting position, a wonderful stretch for the upper back and the shoulders. Just breathing here as you melt down into the ground, feeling the earth beneath you, feeling the release, and continuing the breath. On your next inhale, you're slowly going to begin to lift yourself up, walking those hands back in. Tuck your toes and really ground down through those hands as we prepare to lift into downward facing dog. So as you tuck your toes, begin to hover those knees just a couple inches above the mat and slowly begin to lift those hips as if they're in a harness up towards the sky. Feeling those knees staying bent, giving yourself time to adjust here in this downward facing dog. Allow yourself to pedal out those feet, dropping one heel towards the mat at a time. Breathing through this, gazing between the ankles, finding length in that spine, grounding through the hands, and feeling the release of the quads, of the hamstrings, of the calf muscles. From here, we're going to make our way to the top of the mat. So just taking a couple of steps to get there, keeping your knees bent, and we're going to find our forward fold. So in this fold, you're going to keep your knees bent here and really bring that belly close to your thighs. Start to lower that body down, holding onto opposite elbows, and finding your ragdoll position, just wobbling from side to side, allowing that head to feel soft, feeling the effects of gravity here. And gently releasing those arms like two braids, slowly begin to lift yourself up, one vertebrae at a time, head coming up last. When you get to the top, readjust those shoulders, inhale the arms up to the sky, gazing forward, tip it back slightly, palms coming together. Exhale, hands come to heart center. And just begin to feel the power in this standing pose now. So really grounding through those feet. Finding a nice straight spine, tuck that tailbone, roll your shoulders up, down, and back. And just find stability here with a micro bend in those knees, that rooting sensation down through the soles of your feet. And bringing your hands to heart center now. Beginning to shift your weight over onto your left foot. You're going to inhale that right leg up about 90 degrees. Keeping that foot flexed, finding your stable balance here, pulling in through the core. Finding something to focus on. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, begin to tip forward as you send that right leg back. And drop the back heel. Placing a bend in that front left knee. Square your shoulders to the top of the mat. When you found your balance, allow those thighs to just release down just a little bit more here. Allow those hips to release down just a little bit more. And inhale those arms up to the sky, finding your warrior one. Finding length through those arms, an open heart, gazing upwards, and sink it down just a bit more here as you breathe. And exhale, hands coming to heart center now. And finding an opening into that warrior two, begin to shift that front body open to the side, finding length through those arms. Drop the shoulders away from the neck, gazing forward. Allow those hips to sink down just a little bit more here, making sure you can still see your toes down in the front. Making sure that knee doesn't cross over the ankle. And we're going to tip it back into our peaceful warrior. So flip that front palm, Begin to slide that right hand down the back leg, tipping back as you gaze up towards your hand. Find your stability here, feeling an opening in that front body as you compress the opposite side. And inhale, finding that warrior two, coming back into it. From here, dropping that front elbow, coming onto that front knee, and finding an extended side angle. So we're going to lift that right arm up overhead, creating a wonderful long line with that right side body. Gazing upwards if you can here. Deep breath in. And exhale, finding that warrior two once again. Bringing those hands to your hips, you're going to begin to twist the toes, lift that back heel, and we're going to take a giant step towards the top of the mat. So a nice big step, and allow yourself to just shake it out a little bit there. When you're ready, inhale those arms up to the sky, and exhale, folding forward, folding all the way down. And then inhale, lift yourself up halfway, finding a flat back, gazing just ahead. And exhale, feel the breath leave the body, creating space to fold. Planting your hands down on the mat, we're going to step it back into our downward facing dog. Just a breath here. And inhale as we tip it forward, coming into our high plank position or modified plank. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my knees, relax my feet. Keep my elbows tucked in close and tight to the body. As you exhale, keeping those elbows, just sending them back as you lower yourself down halfway. And then inhaling up to our upward facing dog. So try to lift those thighs off the mat if you can, pushing down through your hands, creating a nice little bend in that back as you gaze upwards. Widen the knees and sink it back as you round the spine, coming into your child's pose. Allow yourself to just connect with your breath here, releasing it all down onto the mat. From child's pose, gently beginning to roll yourself back up, tucking those toes behind you, pressing down through those hands and finding your downward facing dog once again. Remember, feel free to keep those knees bent, pedal out those feet, and start to notice if your down dog is maybe beginning to feel a little bit looser here. As you feel more of a release in those muscles that you're warming up in your legs, just noticing as your body begins to evolve throughout the practice. And making your way to the top of the mat, coming into a nice little fold, and then inhale, lifting your back up halfway, gazing just ahead. Exhale, fold it down. Shaking side to side, releasing down. And dropping those arms like two braids, slowly beginning to roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale those arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Once again, feeling into that strength of your standing pose now. And preparing for the opposite side. So find that rooting sensation through your feet. We're going to begin to shift that weight into our right foot. And as you shift that weight, add a little micro bend to that knee to protect it from locking. And keeping your hands on your hips or at prayer position at heart center, begin to lift that left leg up. Finding about a 90-degree angle, flexing that foot, and just pausing here for a little stability and centering. A little balance. It's often hardest to find that the balance poses are often the most challenging when we have to stay still. Finding a little balance here. Noticing that the balance poses are often the hardest when we have to stay still. Taking a deep breath in as you exhale, begin to send that foot towards the back of the mat and drop the heel. Noticing your alignment, placing a bend in that front knee, making sure it's not crossing over the ankle. Square your shoulders to the top of the mat. Your hips do not have to be square, so just squaring your shoulders to the top of the mat, making sure to protect that back knee, that you're not completely overextending it as you twist. So adjust the position of that back foot as necessary. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Deep breath in as you sink down into this warrior one pose, opening your heart, reaching through those fingertips. And exhale, begin to open that front body to the side of the mat, finding your warrior two, allowing those shoulders to fall away from the neck as your right hand goes forward, left hand goes back. Gazing forwards, allow those hips to sink down just a little bit lower here. And then flipping that front palm, begin to tip it back into your peaceful warrior. Slide that back hand down the leg, finding length through that side body, gazing up at the sky. Breathing here. And slowly beginning to tip yourself back up, bringing that front elbow to the front knee for balance. And coming over and extending that left arm up and over in your extended side angle. Finding a nice long line with that left side body from the toes all the way to the fingertips. Maybe gazing upwards here. On your next breath, finding that warrior two, extending those arms out in either direction. And then bringing those hands to your hips, you're going to lift that back heel, twist the toes forward, and take a giant step towards the top of the mat. So place that weight in your front foot and take a nice big step to the top of the mat. And just begin to shake it out here. And from here, we're going to turn onto the side of our mat. Begin to shake it out here. Inhale those arms up to the sky. Exhale, feel the breath leave the body as you fold down, folding from the hips, bend the knees, bring that belly nice and close to those thighs. Drop the neck. Inhale, find a flat back, lifting halfway. And exhale, fold. Of course, in this fold, if your hands are far away from the floor, you can always use blocks to hold on to those for a little bit of support to bring that ground closer to you. Placing your hands firmly on the mat, we're going to step it back into our downward facing dog. Inhale, begin to tip forward into our high plank or modified plank position by dropping the knees. Exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale, find that upward facing dog, feeling a nice little bend in that back, gazing up. See if you can lift those thighs off the mat. And we're going to exhale and tuck our toes and find that downward facing dog once again. From down dog, we're going to walk our hands towards the back of the mat as we bend the knees. And slowly lift ourselves up one vertebrae at a time, head coming up last. All the way, roll those shoulders up, down, and back at the back of your mat now. Inhale those arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart center. And we're going to take our stance nice and wide now. So using up the length of your mat here, you're going to spread your legs a little more than hip width distance apart and turn your toes inwards slightly. You're also going to add a nice little micro bend in those knees to protect the knees. We always want to be very mindful of those knees. From here, placing your hands on your hips, you're going to find length in that spine. Open up those shoulders, open up the heart. Deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to tilt forward from the hips, finding a flat back. So definitely keep your blocks handy. When you find that flat back, you're going to begin to release those arms down. Now this is where blocks can come into play. So if the floor is not available to you without kind of like rounding your back too much, Feel free to bring 2 blocks here, 2 books, a rolled up blanket, anything that brings that floor closer to you. And just begin to find length here in the spine. Slowly making our way into a wide-legged forward fold. So that can be your stopping point number 1. Otherwise, you could slowly begin to continue bending from those hips, drawing the crown of your head down towards the ground. Adjusting your legs as necessary, bending your knees as necessary, listening to your body, tuning in. And with each exhale, feel yourself folding just a little bit more, releasing down. And from here, walking both hands over to the right side now, holding on to whatever part of that right leg is available. And begin to draw that forehead in towards the knee. It's okay if it doesn't reach. Just finding a little twisted fold here. And then walking both hands back through center. And over to the opposite side now. Holding on to whatever part of the leg is available to you, beginning to draw that forehead in towards the knee. Very gently here, giving your body space and time to release. As our muscles begin to let go, we can once again feel energy flowing through our bodies. But it takes time and patience and practice. Accepting yourself for where you are today. Returning back through center, bringing both hands to your hips now. Slowly, very slowly beginning to roll yourself up. 1 vertebrae at a time. And heel toe your feet back in just a little bit. Closing those legs slightly and then turning those toes outwards now, pointing out towards the mat. From here, once again, you want to find that nice tall spine. And we're going to begin to squat down into our knees. So taking a deep breath in. As you exhale, begin to open up, coming into a squatting position here. Again, you don't want to start to kind of collapse in on yourself. You want to stay upright as much as possible. So maybe your squat is just a little bit subtle, or maybe you start to go a little deeper. And inhale, lifting yourself back up. Now maybe you want to bring your hands to heart center. So deep breath in, and exhale, coming into that squatting position. Holding, engaging those inner thighs, and inhale back up. Wonderful strengthening for those quad muscles, those inner thighs. Coming into cactus arms now, so making 2 sharp angles with those arms. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Deep breath in, and exhale, open up. If you'd like to take this a step further, you could see if you could come up onto your toes here, coming into your goddess pose. Breathing through it, not holding your breath. And slowly begin to lower those heels down. Extend those arms. Exhale to heart center. Great job. And begin to heel toe those feet back in. And step towards the top of your mat now. Inhaling those arms up to the sky. And exhale, folding forward. Folding from those hips. Dropping those hands down to blocks or the mat, releasing the neck. Step it back, finding your downward facing dog. And then we're just going to drop the knees and come into a seated position. Finding a nice comfortable seat, keeping your blocks or props nearby. So we're going to come into our bound angle position. So we're first going to find a nice straight spine. Bring the soles of the feet together and allow those knees to fall out to either side. If you find your knees are very far away from the mat and it feels a little bit like pulling on the inside of your thighs, feel free to take your blocks or blankets and just allow some support for those knees. Another option here is if you have a strap or a belt and you try to reach for your toes, but You have to round yourself to kind of get to them, rounding your spine. You want to keep a nice straight spine while holding onto those toes. So always feel free to use a strap or a belt or whatever you have to bring those toes closer to you. So holding onto those straps and finding that nice length in your spine. And allow yourself to breathe here for a couple of breaths in your bound angle, feeling that opening in the inner thighs. Now, if you'd like to take this a step further and feel a little bit more deep of a stretch on those inner thighs, you can slowly begin to bend forward, tilting from the hips and lowering your body down over the feet, bringing the crown of the head, the forehead, to meet the toes. So with each breath, very slowly taking your time, just gently beginning to lower down. With each exhale, feeling your body release just a little bit more as you slowly make your way down. You'll notice as you begin tilting forward, you're going to feel a more intense opening of those inner thighs and those hips. Spending a few breaths here, just surrendering down and unraveling. Connecting with any intention you may have set for yourself at the beginning of class. If it feels good, you can also walk your hands out and extend those arms long in front of you. And very slowly beginning to inhale yourself back up to stand sitting. Finding that nice straight spine. And creating a little bit of a counter pose here. Place those hands nice and firmly behind you as you begin to drop one knee in towards the body. So internally rotating that hip, just creating a little bit of a counter pose here. And coming over onto the opposite side. This should feel like a really nice release to counter that nice big hip opener we just did. And coming back, sitting up nice and tall now. And extending that left leg long out to the side. Finding a flexed foot. We're going to take that right leg in our hands and just begin to rock that hip side to side, kind of like cradling a little baby. And place that right foot on the inside of that left thigh. From here, we're going to inhale our arms up to the sky and exhale, hands to heart center. Begin to nestle that left arm either right on top of your left leg or tucked inside. But again, you want to make sure if your arm is tucked inside the leg, you're not collapsing into yourself. You want to keep that chest open, those shoulders broad. And begin to inhale and extend that right arm up overhead, finding length in the body. Coming into a nice stretch here on the side body. Again, keep that heart open, keep the chest open. Your fingers will be falling towards the toes, but they may not reach. Just breathing here, feeling the space you're creating in the body. And notice how the body continues to let go. With each breath, with each moment that passes by. And slowly beginning to inhale yourself back up, grounding that right hand down on the mat. We're going to find a little bit of a lift here. So grounding through that hand on the mat, begin to lift the body, dropping those left toes down towards the ground. Inhale, extend that left arm up overhead. Really opening that front body, opening the heart, gazing up. And exhale, begin to lower down. And preparing to switch sides now, drawing that left leg in and extending that right leg out. Again, you want to find a nice flexed foot here to engage all the muscles in that leg. And taking that left leg, begin to rock it like a baby, just beginning to kind of warm up that hip muscle. And then placing that foot on the inside of the thigh. Adjusting yourself here. Inhale those arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Bringing that elbow and forearm either right on top of that extended leg or tucked inside, but again, making sure you're maintaining the quality of that openness through the chest. When you're ready, inhale that arm up and over, extending the left side body. 2 breaths here, feeling yourself releasing into the side stretch. Drawing those fingers down, infusing every muscle with your breath. One more exhale, and then inhale, slowly beginning to bring yourself back up and over, grounding that left hand down next to you. Finding length as you begin to straighten that extended leg, bringing those toes down onto the mat. And inhale that right arm up and over, finding length in the body on the opposite side now, opening the heart, open the chest. And exhale, slowly releasing down. From here, you're going to bring your knees close in towards your chest. And just begin to do a couple little seated cat-cows, holding onto those knees for support. Inhale, bring that belly to your thighs, gazing up. Exhale, holding onto the knees for support as you round the spine and tuck the chin. Once more, inhale, belly to thighs. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin. And slowly begin to roll yourself down, 1 vertebrae at a time, onto the mat. As you do so, begin to draw those knees back in towards your chest and give your low back a nice little massage here, rocking side to side. And extending your arms out like a T, dropping your knees over to one side of the mat. Flexing those feet. Feeling a nice supine twist here, just relaxing down. Relax the shoulders. Begin to slow the breath down. And gently inhaling 1 knee back up at a time. Coming back through center. And exhale, dropping those knees over to the other side now. Finding a twist on that opposite side, extending your arms. Gaze can be wherever it's comfortable for you, maybe closing your eyes. Softening through the shoulders. And gently inhaling 1 knee back up at a time, coming back to center. Opening those hips wide, holding onto the pinky toe side of those feet. Drawing the knees down towards the floor. Pushing into your hands with the feet as your hands push back into your feet. And just beginning to find your happy baby here as you open up those hips. Rocking side to side. Just feeling joyful and present in this moment. Finding a moment of gratitude for yourself in this practice. And when you're ready, beginning to close those knees in towards the chest, dropping the legs down, and finding your final pose now, Shavasana. Allow those legs to release down. Feel that spine making contact with the mat. Relax the shoulders. Close the eyes. Deepen the breath. as you lay here on your mat, just beginning to check back in with your body. Starting out at the tips of your toes, beginning to do a nice little scan of your physical body. Sending your breath into each part of the body that you scan, along with a loving white light that heals you, releases any stuck tension that may be lingering. Moving up through the ankles, softening through the calves and the knees, relaxing and releasing the thighs. This beautiful white light gently twirling around your hips now, bringing peace and softness into your low back. And in your belly, feeling the rising and falling of your breath. Trusting that the next breath is always to come. Feeling that belly soft, relaxed, supporting your entire body. The center. And slowly bringing your awareness and your breath and your loving white light up through your ribs, into your heart center now, feeling the rising and falling of your chest. Tuning into that beating of your heart. Noticing if you can feel your heart, its life force pumping blood, oxygen, and love throughout your entire body. Continuing to scan up the base of your spine all the way up to the top. This beautiful white light branching off, rolling down both your arms and your shoulders, relaxing as it goes. Reaching your fingertips. And then making its way up through the neck, through the throat, soothing it, softening your jaw, relaxing your tongue. All the muscles in your face feeling peaceful and soft. Your eyes feeling heavy. And this beautiful, loving, healing light surrounds the top of your head now and out through the crown of your head, swirling back down to your toes, covering your entire body with this beautiful, healing, protective light. You slowly begin to bring your awareness back into your room, into your space, feeling the temperature of the air around you. Any sounds or sensations you feel. And you slowly begin to turn yourself over into a fetal position. The right side of your body representing the sun side, the masculine side. The left side of the body representing the feminine and moon side. Knowing that we all have both these energies present within us. And just beginning to check in with whatever energy it is you need in this moment. Cradling your head, hugging those knees in, giving yourself a little bit of self-love here. Grateful for this beautiful practice today. And sending love outwards from yourself to the community and the world around you. And gently using the strength of your arms, slowly beginning to push yourself up in a seated position. Once again, sitting up nice and tall. You can keep your eyes closed, resting your hands on your knees. And reconnecting to the quality of your breath for just a moment, checking in with yourself and noticing how you feel. On your next breath, we're all going to inhale our arms up towards the sky, gathering up the beautiful energy around your body that you've created, bringing the palms of the hands together at the top. And exhale through the mouth to heart center. Let it all go. Pushing the thumbs into that heart center, bowing your head down, feeling into that beating rhythm of your heart. Thank you all so much for joining my practice today. The love and light within me sees and honors the love and light within each and every one of you. Thank you, Marianne, for allowing me the opportunity to share this practice with everyone in your community. I feel very grateful and blessed. Namaste.